after escaping Berkeley with a tough 2-point victory, the Ducks hit the bye week with just 2 games standing between themselves and a trip to the BCS National Championship game in Glendale, Arizona. Dirk Weishar now takes a look back at how Oregon got to this point.
New Mexico, no problem. Tennessee, well, the Ducks weathered a couple storms. One in the form of Mother Nature, and then Oregon battled back from a 13-3 deficit to score 45 straight points in blowing out the Volunteers 48-13.
We did wear them down a little bit. Our fast tempo, I think, got to them, and we just kind of kept at it, and I think it really helped.
After dispatching Portland State, the Duck defense saved the day at Arizona State. 7 takeaways and 2 touchdowns by the D helped Oregon start the Pac-10 schedule with a W.
There's a lot of parity. The teams that win, and when this whole thing's all said and done, is can you win on the road in the Pac-10? And we're 1-0 in the league on the road, and that's big for us right now.
Stanford had luck on its side and a 21-3 lead the following week at Autzen, but the Ducks had the element of surprise along with a furious rally. Oregon outscored the Cardinal 28-0 in the second half to go to 5-0.
We were faced with adversity. It really doesn't matter. Every team's going to have adversity. I think it matters how you overcome adversity, and tonight we overcame adversity.
With Darren Thomas hurt, senior Nate Costa came in and delivered at Washington State. Costa led 3 touchdown drives as the Ducks beat a game Cougar squad in Pullman.
I had a really good week of practice, and I just carried it over. I'm proud that I played this way, and I'll be happy to talk to my parents in a little bit, but it's a great win. Any Pac-10 win is great, and I'm pretty damn proud of that.
After bruising the Bruins at Autzen, the Ducks got a decade-long monkey off their back. Oregon won at the Coliseum for the first time since the year 2000, piling up nearly 600 yards of total offense. Michael James rushed for 239 yards in the victory.
It's always good to see the home crowd, start to leave early. And, it's not something we come into the game trying to do, but that's the way it happened tonight.
A slow start, but a dominant win over the Huskies got Oregon to 9-0. 10-0 proved to be difficult for the Ducks. Cal stymied the vaunted Oregon offense better than any team, but when it counted most, the Ducks put together an 18-play, 65-yard drive that consumed the last 9 minutes and 25 seconds of the clock, preserving a 15-13 victory.
Coach Kelly told us, this is going to be the drive that you'll tell your kids and grandkids about when you're old and bald and all that good stuff. So, and we just went out there and we grinded it out and came out with a W.
For Inside the Pac, I'm Dirk Weishar.
10 down, 2 to go. The top-ranked Ducks began game week preparations for Friday night's home finale with Arizona Sunday morning, and the bye-week-long media lockout ended as we were allowed back inside the Moe Center. Friday's post-Turkey Day kickoff set for 4 o'clock. On the injury front, the last time we saw LaMichael James, he limped off the field and found himself in a boot and on crutches during postgame at Cal. The limp was gone Sunday, and LaMike said he is okay, but he was limited in what he could do. He did not participate in the team drills, but expect the Heisman candidate to take the field on Friday.
It's really fun, but it's no fun if you lose a game. That's just like us losing the game, the first game of the season. It's gonna feel the same way if you lose now. So we just gotta keep fighting. We're just so close right now.
Going back to last year, we know what happens when you look forward, when you start planning ahead before you've even got things done this week. So I'm just worried about this game this week, and then after that, the game after that, and then we can focus on the other stuff when it comes.
You'll look at last year's game for scheme and some of those things, and but everybody tweaks. We're a different team than we were a year ago. At this point in time, than what we were at last year's point in time. So it's more scheme-wise you look at and make those adjustments.
So again, LaMike says the ankle is okay. It's a little bit sore, but even if he's hurt, he's going to play on Friday.
Well, certainly we've seen that they do okay with Kenyon Barner in there as well. And I think one thing to watch for is if Arizona will do any of the, the cramping up stuff, the fake injuries. Like now that Cal has really brought it to the nation's attention, Jeff Tedford and Cal took a lot of heat over the last week for the stuff that went on in the 15-13 loss to the Ducks. So that'll be interesting to watch. Oregon now just 2 wins away from a first ever trip to the BCS national title game, but the Wildcats and Beavers stand in the way. Still to come on Inside the Pac, we'll take a look at this week's matchup with the Cats, and if last year is any indication, it figures to be a good one.
That's the one thing, like our theme this year's finish is we have to finish games like that. We were right there with them. We had to make stops. We had to make big touchdowns at the end game. We had opportunities to.
It was the kind of game that becomes an instant classic, and 1 year after that Oregon-Arizona duel in the desert, we can finally talk about a rematch. Oregon went into Tucson a year ago needing to beat Arizona to stay on path for the Rose Bowl, and Arizona was trying to make its first ever Rose Bowl trip. They still haven't been, but for 60 minutes and 2 overtimes, the Ducks and Cats traded salvos before Jeremiah Masoli and company outlasted Arizona 44-41, and Nick Foles and the Wildcats have been waiting for the rematch ever since.
Man, it was the most intense game I've ever played in. I can't remember any other game I've been so exhausted by, the second overtime. I couldn't even, feel my legs or anything. And
the atmosphere was crazy. You see all the students, everybody came down. They were ready for a big-time win again, and everybody was ready for a big-time win, but we got sidetracked and we didn't finish the game, and that's our motto this year, is finish.
Arizona versus Oregon. This one's been circled on the schedule since last November, but for some reason, Arizona this year not quite as potent offensively as they were a year ago. Certainly not as potent as Oregon's offense.
Yeah, and like the Ducks, they're coming off a bye week too, and you recall about a month ago, Nick Foles tweaked his knee, was out for a week. He's had another chance to really heal that up this week, but I think great offenses, they haven't quite been to where they can be, but this is going to be one of those classic matches again here on Friday night. As again, the Ducks, their senior night, final game at home, and plan to go 11-0.
Oregon averaging 50 points a game, Arizona just 30, but the top 2 scoring defenses in the Pac-10, Oregon at 17 points per game, Arizona at 18 points per game. After what we saw at Cal, is it possible this turns into a defensive battle?
I really don't see it that way, and I think that a lot of people just keep this in mind. No premature celebration. You look back at last year, the Zona Zoo coming up over the barricades, thought they had it won, and certainly we know they did not.
For me, even more Ducks and Beavers content as well as the Pac-10, go to our website at InsideThePac.com. After being just about written off, the Beavers Bowl hopes are still alive, but they need one more win. Still to come on Inside. We'll go back to Corvallis for more with Oregon State as the Beavers beat the Trojans by the second largest margin of victory in the history of the series.
Guys are dedicated to, do their job, do their assignment, and execute it.